At some point, you know, the abstract has to become practical, and you've got to get all your people together and figure out if this thing's going to work or not. I mean, you know, we can talk about it all day long, you can roll it around your head until you get some folks in there that can weigh in some really practical ways. You don't know whether it's going to fly or not. All right, so here's what it's come down to. Here's the challenge if we think we can do it. We got 150 days to build about a 1,500 to 1,600 square foot house for $150,000. So and it's got to be energy efficient. I would love for it to be zero energy.
If we were doing a net zero house, we would probably need, you know, a bigger budget.
I really wanted all the windows to be the same size across the front, David. There's just no way that, is that just not going to work?
So Alan wants bigger windows, and what that's going to equate to is more glass, a larger area for the sun to enter into the envelope of the home, or for heat or cold to escape the home as well. And basically that's also going to translate to possibly larger mechanical system, and even a little bit of an increase in the budget for windows.
Alan wanted all the windows the same height in the front, all 6 foot, and on the drawings that we had there was some 4-foot windows and 6-foot windows, so he wanted them all even. So we just changed the header heights and made them all the same. Had to recut the stair risers because it was coming up in the window, so I had to redo them and run the risers down lower.
From the very beginning, I wanted windows that are the same size all the way across the front of the house. I want it symmetrical. I don't want 2 smaller windows up there.
We're going to let Alan have his way on the outside, and then when we get on the inside, we're going to have some really hard choices to make.
No, we're going to have to make up the cost somewhere else. I know that.
I think that going with the 2 dormer, as far as aesthetically, gives a taller feel to that, as far as your line of sight goes, as opposed to 3, because then those 2 windows really stand out. Here, it follows a certain pattern.
What about the framing of it, Tony? Is there any? I mean, is there any way we can save any money on the framing?
The framing doesn't make a whole lot of difference to me. It's not a whole lot more hours to frame 3, but it is some, so it will make a dollar amount.
Everybody talks about a budget, but when they start talking about peer pressure and family pressure and TV pressure, any kind of pressure, then people start thinking, you know, I really want the $800 toilet versus the $200 toilet.
What I would have done is took all that money we took building the 2nd floor, all the joists, all the extra everything, and took this house out about another 30 feet that way with that money.
Because if you want to be economical and get a garage, a screen porch, and everything in a budget like this, we would keep it all straight and narrow.
You know, I don't mind naysayers. It just gives me more motivation to prove them wrong.
We're doing wood studs, so there's a certain amount of thermal bridging that happens in this wall style.
Thermal bridging is what happens when energy moves from one space to the other. And what we're looking at in a home envelope is all the energy that you put into the interior space to keep it conditioned at the comfortable level for yourself will eventually move through the wall system to the outside.
What we're going to propose doing is a continuous insulation sheathing that goes on the outside of the stud wall.
So we have to price the house wrap, the butyrol tape, the framing, the timing. Well, the compromise is going to have to come from the inside, because Alan would like the outside to look, you know, like the garden home.
I just want to make sure that the details of this farmhouse are correct and the proportions are correct, because that's going to make it really feel good both on the outside and the inside of the house.
But if we can use that sheeting, if it'll work and if it's in the budget,
Can you get a sample of it?
we'll get a sample of it and we'll try to find out a price, and we'll actually compare OSB, house wrap, our time and energy in it versus the taping, putting it up once and having a value. I think it's an R5 value.
Well, I like the idea of going with if it's the same strength and we get a better R value and we get more room on the inside, that could be win-win, and I'm happy to look at that. I just want to make sure it's solid house.
This is structurally rated sheathing. It's as good as OSB. Matter of fact, I think it's better.
I still would like to have that larger porch. I'm sort of seeing a porch as more living space, if you will. So it's really important to me that that porch be larger. I don't want some little dinky thing that's slammed up against the wall of the house that you can't really use.
It's outside of the conditioned space of the home, so it typically is an added expense when coming up with a budget on a home.
We can take them a design for a house and more than likely they change it.
You know, it doesn't matter what style you choose, just do it and do it well. You know, and that's the way I approach things. You know, whether it's a Spanish style house or a farmhouse or a French or Creole house, whatever it is, you know, each of these styles have certain characteristics. And the details really are an expression of that particular style. So you really have to honor the details.
Everybody changes it.
So what we're really looking at is ordering extra material to build these extra spaces.
There's very little time difference on building a smaller or larger deck. The material is what the cost is.
I'm not real confident, but we'll see. The show may get more dramatic as we move inside.